What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Welcome to the morning bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. A big, beautiful sports card waiting for us to attack. We got World Cup quarterfinals. We got 13 games in Major League Baseball, which is a lot for a Thursday. We have 3 games in the WNBA. And then at the end of the show, I'm going to break down the entire CFL card. Before I head to Las Vegas, Jose, where we all belong. Jose, my friend, love having you joining me this morning. How are you?
Good. I want to ask you about your future Vegas trip, but we have much to do, so let's get after it.
Let's get right after it. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. I'm going to be copying and pasting all the plays of the day. Keep sending them in. We got Justin McKelvey in the house, Dougie Wise. So Justin McKelvey's look on the fever makes so much sense. I flipped while I was capping that game, and I haven't moved on it yet. I'm very interested. But that his stacks play day number 2 on Indiana Fever makes a ton of sense to me. Johnny Bendis is getting psyched for Vegas. Yes. I mean, I used to go 5 to 10 times a year. And, this is my first time going with the kids. So, it's all, life changes and evolves. I'm pumped up, though. Dougie Wise, free bands play day. Brewers minus 131. I'm on it with you. Shout out to Troy Torrance, by the way, who was on the Cardinals first 5. I believe it was first 5 in full game, but shout out to Troy Torrance for being on the Cardinals yesterday. I mean, it's one thing for me being able to stay off the Brewers. It's a whole nother thing when you're like, no, I'm going to fade the market movement. Excellent work. Dougie Wise, I'm right with you. We got Walla Dose in the house. Turnbuckle Tommy ready to get to work. I will copy and paste the full card from Dougie Wise. Tommy ready to bounce back, and he's going to be on Fever Money Line as well. Coin, my man Coin, who I hopefully will see this weekend in Vegas, is on the under 8 in the Marlins game. I'm on that one. I'm right there with you on that one. I was hoping we'd wake up to a movement in the right direction, which we haven't had yet. It's not moving against us. It is a bookmaker, though, which is a little disconcerting. Serious business ready to get to work. Let's do exactly that. Jose, my friend, it is time to attack the board, and we go right to the World Cup. So let's get started here. Jose Bouquet joining us, so let's make sure that we utilize him for World Cup action. To me, these 4, we're only going to talk about France, Morocco, but it does feel pretty, I mean, it just doesn't always go according to form, but certainly feels like France, Spain, and Argentina will be moving on, and then that Norway-England game is a battle. But there's always an upset. It never works as simple as that. I made a very square parlay last night at 2:30 in the morning, Jose, with France to advance, Spain to advance, Argentina to advance, and Max Holloway to beat Conor McGregor. Extremely square parlay. I might even, when I get to Vegas, now France game will be over, but I might even add Spain, Argentina, and Max Holloway down there with a ticket on that. I don't know if there's a point in doing that. Maybe just for cash, American greenbacks, but I've already sent that one into the local. France sitting here at minus 169. Morocco has looked very good in this tournament, but do we care exactly how good they look against the team as weak as Kanata? The draw sitting here at 294. Mbappe, God, it's amazing what Mbappe's numbers are in World Cup history right now. To see him so high on World Cup goals at 26 years old is absolutely insane. Jose, take it away. France, Morocco, your plan of attack here.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it simple here. If you guys do the Mbappe to France to score parlays, I get it. You guys know I have a friend that's a local, and he's been getting murdered by the square goal scorer parlay, the Mbappe, Haaland, Messi parlay. So if you guys do that, shout out to you guys. I'm not that kind of guy, but I can see why you would be betting that. I'm betting both teams to score minus 108 for me here. Keep it simple. Was kind of feeling the Alex Classic here. Shout out to Alex and Flash, great soccer show. Used to be on this program. He taught me about the Alex Classic, which is both teams scoring over 2.5 goals. I like that as well. And you'll hear me talk about, I guess, Alex and Flash a lot because they helped me with the soccer betting part of this whole thing. But I also like Flash's bet both teams to win in penalties kind of thing. I think that France, sure, there'll be a good squad, but I think this is Morocco. This is Morocco's World Cup, right? This is everything. I think they're gonna bust their balls for the first 90 minutes. And that's why I think they can get a score here. So I'm on both teams to score minus 108. Again, if you're on the Mbappe goal scorer plus whatever, I can see for sure. But I don't hate the both teams to score here and the over 2.5 if you want to make it real spicy.
Both teams to score here. We have Louisville Gambler taking France and Mbappe to score or assist at minus 110 here. Jose with both teams to score. Coin leaning towards the under 2.5. There's been a very slight move towards the under. I mean, that's the way you would expect Morocco to play this. I mean, they were seemingly asleep in the first half against Canada and then scored on every opportunity they had in the second half. What do you think of that under 2.5? I think that also makes sense to me.
Yeah, I don't hate it at all. Like maybe Morocco, like you said, their best goal scorer isn't available today as well. I saw that before coming on here, but I can see that for sure being the game plan. Given the fact, like I just said, they don't have their best goal scorer, they just shut it down. But I think if that happens, then they're gonna get fucked. Personally, I think they need to go out and get the ball. If they score first, obviously, I'm feeling a lot better about my bet. We'll see.
Yeah, I hear that. Coin saying Rebenga from Morocco for the 22 Cup. Kelly McInnes.
By the way,
yeah.
By the way, quickly, I'm going to be fading the fuck out of Belgium tomorrow as well. The United States was fucking embarrassing in that game, and Belgium is not good. So I'll be fading the fuck out of them tomorrow with Spain in some form or fashion. Just a heads up.
TV Jones says, isn't the referee crew all Argentinian? Feels like a stay away game. Dougie Wise says, I like France, but minus 170 is too pricey. The
refs mean nothing to me. The refs mean nothing. The Argentinian crew means nothing to me at all. Just to say that.
All right. That is all fair. All fair in love and war. Jose, and gambling is war. All right, so that is the World Cup. Let's get right into this big, beautiful Major League Baseball card. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Rob Stevenson in the house as well. By the way, Kelly McInnes says, you guys know I bet parlays. Bet 365 was the only book I was using in Alberta as it was government controlled. Tuesday, we get 28 more books opening in Alberta. It's about time. It is about time. Hopefully, California and Texas are next. Jose, my man, I love this MLB card. I sat here till 3 a.m. deciding exactly how to bet it. I'm very comfortable with what I bet. There's other spots that I want to attack. I also have issues where you'll know when you set up these games, where these pitchers that are supposed gas cans are very near and dear to my heart. So let's attack it. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. Let's roll, Jose. Set up our first game. Afternoon action all day for us, which is very, 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 very fun. And there seems to be some blatant spots to attack. And I'm not attacking all the blatant spots. So, Jose, let's set the table. Let's get to work. We start with Braves, Pirates, my man. Let's roll.
Yep, Braves, Pirates, Keller versus Elder here. We all know about Mitch Keller at this point. 77% of the money and 71% of the tickets are on the Atlanta Braves here. And, admittedly, I was a little surprised again how cheap it was. We've talked about this in the last few days. Minus 105 each way is now minus 112 at Bovada. At Bet Online. Bovada actually has minus 124. Heritage minus 121. So they've moved it quite a bit, but Bet Online minus 105 openers, now minus 112. It was a minus 120 at one point. Honestly, the cheap price makes me lean towards Pittsburgh here, trying to get all this Braves money. But what do you think here, Jimmy?
Well, first off, I think the game is. There's so many moving parts to it. It is extremely, extremely enjoyable to cap. Obviously, you see Bryce Elder, and you see our friend Helen Mitch Keller, and the idea is, well, we must bet the over. Especially with the way Edler's looked, and of course they skipped his last start. Let's touch on, and so that's the clear public play screaming at us is just to just bet the over and shut up. Is basically how this has gone, and we see 61% of tickets on the over and now 86% of cash on the under. And I think that those big bets on the under do kind of make me feel really good, even though I have not bet this. PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We do have some weather issues in some of the parts, but PNC is no weather. It's just hot, hot, hot. We have storms in a bunch of the cities, but PNC Park is hot. Minus 5% homers. PNC Park is plus 6% runs, plus 18% doubles and triples, minus 1% singles. Bryce Elder got the year off to a great start. We know Bryce Elder was bad, very bad last year. Very, very bad. And, he was just eating up innings in a lost season for the Braves. And then he started this year spectacularly strong. He was absolutely rolling. He looked so good. And then, and he looked so good up until 3 weeks ago. This guy was just rolling right along. It's not, people are making it sound like he's been struggling for a long time. He hasn't been. He started the month with back-to-back quality starts. So he bounced back off that May 27th start, the 8-0 loss at the Red Sox. I know you remember that spot where he got lit up for 5 earned runs over 3 in the third. So then he has 3 starts. Starting Sunday, June 14th, 6 earned runs over 4 innings at the Mets. Sunday, June 21st, 8 earned runs over 6 innings at home versus the Brewers. And then June 27th, in the 5-0 loss at the Giants, he allowed the 5 earned runs. No other pitcher in that ballgame allowed an earned run. So they skipped his start. He was diminished velocity. They skipped his start. They wanted him to have a mental and physical reset. And he wouldn't be pitching right now if his velocity wasn't back. He just wouldn't be pitching. They wouldn't throw him out there. They'd put him on the IL for arm fatigue or something. And he's not on the IL here. He's not on the IL. So the over is screaming, obviously, with the way we've seen Bryce Elder for the last 3 starts. But the idea here is that he got the regroup. His arm's going to be ready to go, and he should pitch better here. And then, look, Mitch Keller's a 5.02 ERA, 1.31 whip. The whip is not the problem. The 5.02 ERA and the 5.38 expected ERA is the problem. We know Mitch Keller doesn't get strikeouts. So when he's not getting soft contact and he's getting barreled, he becomes a gas can. And he's had back-to-back quality starts at home. His last start, 9-5 loss at the Nationals, wasn't very good. 5 earned runs over 6 innings. He allowed 3 jacks. But you go back to these last 2 starts at home versus the Reds and versus the Mariners, 2 teams that aren't hitting very well. And you can include the Braves as a team that's not hitting well, 235, 664 OPS. And then we have the Braves bullpen that's very trustworthy, 3.65 ERA, 1.26 whip. Mitch Keller is being bad at home and better on the road. That doesn't make sense. That's not something that we're used to with Mitch Keller. And then you have Bryce Elder looking terrible on the road. That is something I guess you could say that we are used to. I just felt that the over was just too easy. I felt that it was too easy. We see some big bets coming in on the under now. This move towards Elder, which is slight, it's only 7 cents, but it tells me that he could be ready to go. Now, we could have got the 9 last night. We could have got this 9. It was staring at us last night. We could have got it. It was juiced at the time. We could have got it at minus 120. By after it moved to minus 124 while I was putting all my action in. And now we have a 9.5 that's juiced to the over. The big bets aren't moving this towards the under. Turnbuckle Tommy says Kelly, last 3 starts for Braves. He has a 4.80 ERA, 1.60 whip, 19.7 K percentage, and 0.166 WOBA here. Rob Stevenson's on the Braves team total over 4.5. Here is his A play on the board. And Tommy says Braves with 97 plate appearances versus Keller with team average of 318 and 890 OPS. Justin McKelvey moved on the over 9.5, minus 105. Is this a glaringly simple over bet? That's what I was struggling with last night. And I decided that Elder is capable of pitching better with the week off. And Keller does have back-to-back quality starts at home, and the Braves can't hit. And I put it all together, and I was like, look, I don't know if this is as blatant as it looks. Now, we know with the graphics, Pirates just raking versus righties right now, 303, 875 OPS. So this won't be an easy situation for Elder. But is that balanced with the Braves not hitting righties? I know they're hitting better last 5 games, but I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable staying off of this. Thomas Maggio agreeing with Atlanta team total over. Robert Cherry leaning the Braves today here. Robert Cherry, I'll be in Vegas this weekend, so it's gonna be tricky. I've got the family and then all the booze, so it'll be tricky. But I'll do my best to be available. And Ray Oak, it says Braves 21-15 against the spread, away favorites. Pittsburgh 12-7. Turnbuckle Tommy says Pirates with 312, 864 OPS with 144 weighted runs created plus over the last 7 games. Look, I'm off the game. I don't know what Elder's going to do, but I suspect that it wouldn't surprise anybody. Like, it wouldn't surprise anybody if 4 runs were scored in the first 5 or 5 runs. The 5 runs would be a push. Maybe it's moved to 5.5 now. And then, would that shock you, Jose, here?
No, but I think I'm going to move on the Pirates if I'm being honest.
It's Rabbit. Okay, sorry. Loken smoking Rabbit. Oh, it's Miss Smokes a lot. Oh, wow. Oh, shit. Miss Smokes a lot. We love you. Okay. Well, let's roll. I'm off the game. Look, I've got afternoon action. I wasn't afraid to move on the over in the next game, so let's roll, Jose.
Kansas City Royals versus your New York Mets here on the next game. Michael Wacha versus Sean Manaea here. Manaea's last start, 6 innings, 4 earned runs against the Phillies. He's gone deep, I'll tell you. Or excuse me, that was Wacha. 6 innings, 4 earned runs against the Phillies, 7 2/3 at the White Sox, 7 innings at the Braves. By the way, Michael Wacha, all-star this year. Pretty surprising, to say the least. Michael Wacha is an all-star, especially with Bobby Witt already being the Royals representative, but okay. All right. Sean Manaea not giving the Mets the length they need and not even suppressing runs. 5-6 against the Mets, 5 2/3, 2 earned runs against the Blue Jays, which is fine, but the rest have not been good. Home ERA bad, a 5, but his road ERA isn't much better. Michael Wacha about the same either way. As for the market here, we have 52% of the bets and 78% of the money on your Kansas City Royals here. Line has gone from -127 at BetOnline to now -140 for your New York Metropolitans here. Very interesting. What do you think, Jimmy?
Well, this wasn't over. I did feel comfortable betting, quite comfortable betting. When we get to Citi Field, just -2% runs. We rarely see it not heavily run suppressing. -2% runs, plus 16% homers, -11% doubles and triples, and -11% singles. Wacha has been good this year. 3.45 ERA, 1.16 WHIP. This is about year after year after year, and being a veteran talent who deserves this opportunity. I'm with Tommy and Justin McKelvey. Look, I knew that the first 2 games were going to be very public overs. And it turns out that 39% of the tickets in Atlanta, Pittsburgh have come in on the under, and big bets have come in on the under, which is a surprise if we are to believe odds logic. And then 56% of the tickets, 70% of the cash. Oh, sorry, so that's the wrong one. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong game here. God, sorry, but that was right on the first one. Of course, this is interleague action. We have 59% of tickets and 87% of cash on this over. I was tracking the price difference at the 9 between these 2 games because, look, these are you could say these 2 games are very simple overs. And I knew that they were both going to be very public overs, and maybe they both cashed very easily. But I preferred this one here. Wacha last start gave up 3 home runs at home versus the Phillies and 4 earned runs overall. That stopped a couple, really good starts for him. He's not the one that I think is extremely vulnerable here. I really do believe it is Manaea, especially with the way the Royals are hitting lefties. Manaea's last start, 6 runs allowed, 3 of which were earned. He's not had a start where he's allowed less than 2 earned runs over his last 6 starts. And we're not talking about a guy who's going to go deep in the games. The Royals are raking. The difference I found between that first game and this game, and look, I could easily be wrong here. I found more avenues to an under in Pirates Braves than I did here Royals Mets. We saw a really low scoring game yesterday where the bullpens looked good. These are 2 horrific bullpens. And 2 teams that are hitting harder right now. Rod's Wacky says bet under the total of Michael Wacha starts versus a team who strands 6.9 or less runners on base per game on his record since 2025, 24-5. But this was the one that I really wanted to tack. The question is here, and there's been 25 cents to the over. I was hoping that this would be a 9.5 too. Then I'd feel very, very good about it. But the question is, do we want to also add the Royals? If we really believe that it is Manaea that is vulnerable. The Mets full game are minus 141. First five, the Mets are just minus 138. So, that tells me that this isn't the slam dunk spot. This isn't that maybe it isn't Walker that's the vulnerable one. And we dealt with this yesterday. I mean, yesterday we were sitting here. Look, this line's not moved, but yesterday we were sitting here with this line opening up at plus 115 for the Royals and moving to plus 127. There was a couple spots that I attacked that I'm very proud of on this card where the line did bounce back, and I did thankfully manage to find the right time to move on it. But this line never did. This went from plus 115 to plus 127 the first 3 hours and 55 minutes it was available yesterday, and it's just sitting there. So if the books aren't going to say, look, there's value on Waka here, which is what I would expect, then I will just believe it. I mean, there's nothing else more than that. I'm going to copy and paste the Pamper Pop parlay here. Rob Stevenson leading to the Royals plus 1.5, and I'm off. I just think there's lots of different ways to get paid here on the over. The both bullpens being trashed, coming off a very low scoring game. The Mets are hitting righties much harder of late. The Royals have been hitting lefties for a long time. So there we go. Rod Zawacki says this was a 9.5. It certainly wasn't. I've never seen it in a 9.5. It wasn't a 9.5 last night, but let's see if it was a 9.5 at one point. So I guess he's saying that it was a 9.5 between 3 in the morning and 8 in the morning. My odds page is being a little slow. Let me just see if that was the case at these legal books here, because that would really drastically change. I was hoping and hoping and hoping it would turn into a 9.5. Let's see if Circa did it. Yeah, Circa opened this at 9 and moved it to 9. 5-cent move to the over. I don't know. Does anybody see a book where this was a 9.5? Let's go over to Bet Online. I mean, it would have had to have happened in those few hours that I was asleep. I was hoping we'd wake up to 9.5. There was a 14-cent difference between the nines last night at 2:45 in the morning, 3 in the morning between these first two games. So I'm very comfortable here. This is it here. Oh God, what the hell's going on with this thing? It's really screwing up here. Let me just go over to the. It's going to take a second. I don't know. I think I'm going to pull up a different line history page. But let's roll. I'm on the over 9. We've had this one opened at 9 minus 125 to the under. So 25-cent move to the over. I'm comfortable. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's still okay. This is still screwing up. I'm going to move on. I'm going to open up a new one. But yeah, Jose, let's roll. I'm on the over.
All right, let's go to New York Yankees, Tampa Bay Rays here. For the Yankees, do we know who's pitching? I think I'm seeing Paul Blackburn. I would like to double check that with the people in the chat here, so let us know here. Market in this game so far, we have 78 and 72 tickets and money on the Rays here with Drew Rasmussen facing old Paulie Punch-Outs there. Still trying to get some lines out. So I'm seeing minus 144 bookmaker. Like I said, BetOnline does not have this line available. Bovada has minus 160. So line's still trickling out. Allegedly, it is Paul Blackburn, against Drew Rasmussen here. What do you think, Jimmy?
I just think they're playing playoff baseball in this series right now. And the Yankees are going to have a bullpen day. We know Yarbrough will be a piece of it, but that's not. I finally got my site up. So, by the way, for that Royals game, opened up over 9 plus 105. 51 minutes later, it was a 5-cent move to the over 9 at plus 100. 2 hours later, it was a 15-cent move to the over 9 at minus 115. And then at 4 this morning, it was another 5-cent move to the over 9 at minus 120. So I never saw a 9.5 anywhere. If I did, I would be extremely uncomfortable here. So let me know if anybody has seen 9.5 on that one. Here, I'm on the under 7.5 again. Under 7.5 at minus 110. Drew Rasmussen is a beast. Rasmussen is a very, very good pitcher. He's coming off a bad start. Look, I told you I was pretty confident in Logan Webb bouncing back yesterday, and he allowed 5 home runs before he got 2 outs in the first inning. Then with Devers, the ball going through Devers' glove cost a double play. I thought that was going to cost the full game, and then Of course, Vladdy and Springer went back-to-back to kind of make that point moot, and Cease pitched a game for the ages. It's one of the best games the Toronto Blue Jays pitcher has ever pitched. Cease was spectacular. And, in this spot here, I think that Rasmussen, there's a very high possibility of him bouncing back in a big way. That was in Houston at Daikin Park. This is coming at home. The Yankees aren't hitting it all. 213, 683 OPS. The Rays are going to see lefties and righties. They're definitely going to see Yarbrough because they're hitting 236, 667 OPS versus lefties. I think they'll see multiple lefties in this one. They're hitting righties hard, 277, 812 OPS. This is the best bullpen in baseball over the last while, 2.14 ERA, 1.04 whip. So the question that I had was, do I move more? Do I want more here? And I guess, how long do you think Blackburn will be in? We were all kind of waiting on with bated breath as to who was going to be the opener. So let's just see how long we think that Blackburn will go. And then we can move on to the next spot on the board here. Blackburn's not pitched more than 2 1/3 all year. Oh, no, a one start back in April where it went 3. Not start, but 3 innings. So it'll be Blackburn, Yarbrough. It's going to be a lot of very tough pitchers the way I see it. And so I think we're in business, man. I think that we add the under. The first 3 under. I'm going to pull that up right now. What did you say? Can you go over the line movement on the money line once more for us? Or did you say that it's not been in enough books and there's no way to really judge it at this point?
Yeah, BetOnline hasn't opened it. There's some books like Bovada at minus 160 and bookmakers at minus 144, and it really hasn't moved. So how many books has this line out?
So let's just quickly see what this first 3 is, because I know it's up here. Here we go. Okay, so the first 3 for Yankee, they don't have a pitcher listed for the Yankees. They have Rasmussen, of course, listed for the Rays. And then the first 3 is just minus 125 to the under, so it's not expensive at all. Wonder if that makes me nervous. TV Jones says he got the Rays minus 141 last night. Says too much CLV. I'm cooked here. Rodswag says bet under the total in Yankees games after scoring 2 runs or less. The under's record during the 2026 season, 16-3. Rob Stevenson also on the Rays money line. TV Jones says Yarbrough to Elmer Rodriguez. I don't think it'll be Yarbrough start. I mean, he hasn't started a game all year. I think he'll come in second, but we'll see. Turnbuckle Tommy says Yankees with 78 plate appearances versus Rasmussen with a 189 average and a 515 OPS. Yeah, I get nervous fading bullpen days, but it seems like it's the spot that makes the most sense is to back Rasmussen and back the Rays. Let's just see if Penny has this game up yet, and then we can move past it here. I think that will help. And do they have? Yes, they have it up now. So the Rays are minus 147 here minus 148 now at Penny, and first 5 they're minus 162. I'd still prefer to take them full game. They seem to be rolling right now. By the way, very, very quickly, Jose, did you see any of the pictures of the new stadium? There
no.
It looks unbelievable. It's going to be here 2029. It looks so good. It will compete with Vegas. I can't wait to see these new stadiums. It looks absolutely spectacular. It looks they deserve it after all these years. Terrible drop. So I'm on the under 7.5. I'm surprised that the first 3 under is so cheap. I'm surprised. So I'll put question marks there. And then I think that the Rays do make sense here, but I'm hesitant to fade bullpen days. So I'd like to see what the cash flow once we have a little bit of time on it. Rod Zawacki has a couple different angles to bet on the Yankees. The second one says bet on the Yankees in road games on the money line versus Nail. Starting pitcher whose whip is 1.1 or better. Yankees record during 2026 season 8-1. Just the under 7.5 and minus 110 for me. We went 4-0. I cashed 4 units on this game yesterday. Very, very enjoyable. But let's roll.
All right, beautiful. And congratulations to you. I think you're fading old Tubby, right?
Yes, and the line moved heavily against us. And when it did, and then again, I just want to reiterate this because it's just cashing nonstop. If you really believe in the pitcher on the favorite and the line goes against you, 20 cents, 15 or 20 cents, and you truly have conviction on the pitcher, that means the opposition pitcher is going to pitch really well, almost always. And so the added bets yesterday were the first 3 under in the full game under, and they cashed with ease. So shout out to Kingu in the house, finally catching a show live. I love it, Kingu. Let's get to work, my man. But let's roll on, Jose.
Let's roll on to Gavin Williams and the Guardians versus the Twins. And Bailey Ober here, two pitchers that, again, we've kept for a while, but one is not like the other. And look at this home road split for Bailey Ober. 2.79 at home, almost an 8 ERA on the road here. He is at home here today. Gavin Williams has been okay, 5 and dive right now. Maybe we're not letting him go the full 6-7. Gonna try to keep him a little more fresh for the playoffs if they get there. Who knows? But it's not been good. Back-to-back against the White Sox, sandwiched with a Mariner start in between. All of them going 5 innings. Bailey Ober is kind of in the same boat after he went 9 shutty against the Marlins, which last month is really good. He's gone 5 innings, 4 1/3. It's just not been that great thus far. Back-to-back road starts here. Maybe the home cooking atmosphere will get him back going. 63% of the bets, 94% of the money on Gavin Williams and the Guardians here. -110 for the Guardians is now -125 for Los Guardians here. So big move at Bet Online to the Guardians here. We also see -133 at Bovada. They specifically opened this book at -128. So very interesting. Big move at Bet Online. What'd you think?
I was surprised by a few things here, and I've not moved on the game. Let's start with the weather conditions here at Target Fields. Simple, +6% runs, +2% homers, -3% doubles and triples, and +8% singles. Then we have Gavin Williams, let's start. The elephant in the room is Bailey Ober. We haven't seen Bailey Ober in a long time. So we've been backing the pitchers that are coming off the IL with non-arm related issues. That is not the case here. This was an elbow issue for Bailey Ober. So he made 2 rehab starts and look, not very good. That's fine though. We've seen these, he allowed 7 runs over 8 1/3. He only threw 76 pitches in his final rehab start. So, he's not going deep. Again, we were talking last night, Jose. I think that it's legitimate, and I don't have the numbers. I wish I did, but that Bailey Ober's cost me more money than any other pitcher in Major League Baseball. The problem is that I believed in Bailey Ober, which has hurt me. It has hurt me badly. We also have angles towards the under. And so the first line, so from yesterday, we're talking yesterday afternoon. I'm like, why is this total going down? Why? And Rod Swag comes in last night's show. It said, bet under the total in Gavin Williams road starts when pitching in day games. Says the unders record since 2024 is 11-1. And he says Gavin deals. It's like, okay, well, that's got to be it because, look, Gavin Williams is not pitching very well right now. And we know he's a monster, an absolute monster. We have Taint play of the day in. Matty Ice loving the under in this game as well. Taint play of the day is in. The Guardians money lines had also played double result in Twins team total under. Says he loves Atlanta today as well. It says let's eat. He says he's hammering the Cleveland game. He has 5 plays. Gavin Williams' expected ERA is now 4.66. We were talking about the pinnacle of the season came when he outpitched Sanchez in Philadelphia when Sanchez was on the Oral Hershiser-esque shutout streak. He was absolutely spectacular, Gavin Williams. He was unbelievable in that start. 11 strikeouts, allowed 4 hits, didn't walk a batter, and they won 1-0. He followed that up with another nice start. Since then, he's not been good. So over his last 6 starts, one time he's got 1 out in the 6th inning. The other 4 of the other starts, he went 5 innings. And the last start, he went 4 2/3. He hasn't had a start where he's allowed less than 2 runs. I wonder if he's dealing with arm fatigue, but everybody here convinced that he's going to pitch well, and I respect that. But I just, there's question marks around Ober. Gavin Williams isn't pitching very well. And I respect all you guys, bullish on Gavin Williams shoving here and that the under is in business. It did really catch me by surprise. The total that opened up at 9 was juiced to the over. It took 2 hours for this to become a flat 8.5. So that's a big, sharp move to the under. Since then, we've had 4 cents of movement towards the over. And then Dougie Wise saying that that Minnesota bullpen is cheeks here. Gavin Williams says that Matty Guy says Gavin Williams at Target Field, 13 innings, pitched 9 strikeouts, 1.38 ERA, 0.69 WHIP. Yeah, I mean that sample size doesn't excite me too much either. But I can understand it. I can understand. It doesn't work for me. I have question marks around these two pitchers. We just had the bullpen being talked about, and man, this bullpen for the Twins is atrocious. The Guardians bullpen is pitching quite a bit better right now. With this, when this was put all together, I just, with the way the Twins are hitting righties, ripping the roof off the ball. Now, no, Buxton is a big piece of the puzzle. He's been an absolute beast this year. So Matty says, Ober at home, no Buxton. Unders. Rod Wax says 7 of the Guardians' 8 games as road favorites have gone under the total. Johnny Benders with TV Jones saying this is an over spot. I'm off the game. I've got question marks around all of this. So nothing for me here, Jose.
Next, White Sox versus Red Sox. Red Sox on a winning streak right now. It's been very funny to see this Red Sox team slowly turn their season around like a fucking giant boat. And Jimmy, for the first time in 2 years, we are graced with the presence of Patrick Sandoval back in our lives here. Has not pitched for the Red Sox in the 2 years that he has been on the Red Sox. Last year, he was rehabbing. This year, obviously, he's come back, and this is his first start in quite a while. He has made 8 minor league rehab starts. I don't know if it's rehab, if it's, the whole season, but I guess he was
6.
coming back from an injury.
I have 6. I have 4 in AAA and 2 in AA.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in AAA and 2 in AA. Fangraphs is what I'm looking at.
Okay. Wow, because he has 18 and a third innings. Is that what you have too?
I have 23 and 2/3. Huh. Yes, 22 strikeouts, 13 walks. Don't love that, but to make us feel a little better about his walk numbers, his first 2 starts, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, 1 strikeout, 4 walks. The rest of them, only 1 walk in each appearance, 7 Ks, 3 Ks, 1 K, 4 Ks, 3 Ks. It was not the best. His last appearance being his best, but it was in AA, 5 innings, 1 hit, 7 Ks, 1 walk. I'm fascinated to see what he does here since it's been so long for him since he's pitched. The market seems to think that he's going to pitch well, but it's very public. 74% of the bets, 90% of the money on the lefty here, and Patrick Sandoval. Anthony K has been pretty decent as well. Excuse me, so I can't really feel much better about Patrick Sandoval over Anthony K. 3 cents of movement towards the Red Sox. -116 is now -113. Bet online here, Jimmy. What'd you think?
I love this baseball game, and I spent so much time on it here. There was 4 different spots I was looking at. Boston first 5, Boston full game, and I was looking at unders in this spot, and opened at a very, very high number. This one opened up at 9.5. It was juiced to the under. Now it's a 9 juiced to the under. I guess I'm not fully off of unders. The longer I sat with this game for so long, and I'm excited that Sandoval is back. I think that Sandoval can pitch really well here. So his last start though was in AA Portland, right? We have that. Like he didn't finish up at AAA. Yeah, AA Portland on Saturday through 68 pitches. So there's going to be a workload restriction here. And again, like Jose said, we haven't seen him since 2024. For me, the biggest difference, the biggest edge in this game, I thought, was clear. It was just it was left-handed pitching. I mean, we have this cognitive bias with vividness bias of the White Sox hitting lefties. They're not anymore. 217, 642 over the last 30 days. And you can see over the last 5 games, it's just dipping. And the Red Sox are destroying lefties. 257, 851 OPS over the last 30 days. So that's the biggest difference here. That's a big, big difference. And then with Anthony K, I mean, look at these last few appearances. I don't know if he's dealing with arm fatigue. He's probably not. I mean, he did throw 155 with Yokohama last year. It wasn't like Foster Griffin, who didn't pitch very much. But the last start, he goes 4 innings at the Guardians, only 4 innings. Start before that, 3 2/3 at home versus the Royals. Now we know the Royals are hitting lefties hard, but not as hard as the Red Sox. So if we look at the teams that are hitting lefties, they're getting to them. The Phillies got him for 6 earned runs over 4 innings. At this point, I think the Patrick Sandoval could be really good. And he could be really good here. And it's been 2 years since we've seen him, and he, all these different opportunities in AA and AAA. I think that he could step up here against a team that's not hitting lefties. But the question is, so I moved on the Red Sox first 5 and just first 3 and first 5. You're right. So my idea at first was first 5 in full game, and I was like, well, the White Sox bullpen's been pitching better than the Red Sox bullpen. At that point, it's coin flippy. My biggest advantage is the Red Sox versus left-handed pitching. It's my biggest advantage. So that's why I focused on the first 3 and the first 5. I was astonished at the price, though. The price for the Red Sox, White Sox first 3, they had the White Sox minus 135. And there was a time when I wouldn't bet into that. I wouldn't bet into that. And I did decide to bet into it here because my thought process was that this would be different as soon as we got here. And I'd like to see if it is different right now. So I got it set up here. Just had to log into this account. Okay, here we go. So the first 3, God, please be different. Is different. Okay, that's great. So Red Sox are now minus 115 first 3. It didn't make sense to me. That the White Sox would be minus 135. So that's come back 10 cents. They're now minus 125. That's great news. And then the first 3 under, again, I thought about, I think I would prefer the full game under the most, because then we get to utilize the White Sox bullpen, possibly saving K. The first 3 under 2.5 is plus 100. You would think at a 9 that if it was a 9 juice to the over, you generally would be able to get to pay for a 3, and you can't pay for a 3 here. So I have some interest in that. Rod's Wacky says, bet against road teams, bad offensive teams under 4.2 runs a game against a decent starting pitcher, ERA 4.2 to 4.7, after allowing 2 runs or less since 1997, 145 and 74 here. Turnbuckle Tommy says 74% of tickets, 90% cashes on the Red Sox, and really no line movement here. Let's go into that a little bit deeper, because that would be a concern. Yeah, no line movement to speak of at this point. So 74.90. Yeah, that sure, that's not what I want to see. That is a concern. But I'm backing Patrick Sandoval to pitch to if Patrick Sandoval and Anthony Kay pitch the exact same, then I should cash my bets, because the Red Sox are destroying lefties and the White Sox aren't hitting them at all. And when I broke all of this down, I sat on this game for so long. I was like, that's the biggest advantage that I have. And so that's what I'm going to stick with here. I got Red Sox first 3 minus 105. I got them first 5 plus 101. Let's just see. There was no price difference on first 5 full game, which unfortunately, I mean, we saw how easy the Nats first 5 was when we saw a 17 cent price difference in that one. Here for the Red Sox, White Sox, we have Red Sox right now plus 105. First 5 plus 104. That's not good. That's not good. I could understand the market making the White Sox appealing here. But what's done is done. I'm on the first 3 and the first 5. I'm not going to move on the under, because there are obviously question marks about Sandoval's first start in 2 years, and then question marks with K versus lefties. So I'm just going to keep it the way it is. Boston first 3 and first 5 for me, Jose.
Next game on our board, Cubs Orioles. Here we have Drew David Peterson versus your guy Jimmy, Trevor Rogers. Here we have market in this game. 51% of the bets on Trevor Rogers, 79% of the money. Trevor Rogers here. 52, by the way, tickets on the under, 87% of the money on the over in this game. So big over bets in this game. Minus 115 has moved to minus 123 at Bet Online towards the Orioles. Is that enough? I don't know. What do you think?
Is that enough? Is that enough? Like, we just watched Peterson get absolutely annihilated, made me look like an absolute ass clown when I said we could pretty much, I think that's possible. We can put a line through what he's done with the Mets because they've got a dark cloud hanging over them. And I said, look, he's on a new team. He's got to prove himself. He had that good, that strong first start. First start against the Brewers in Milwaukee. Very tough to pitch there. And they won 8-2. He went 5 2/3. He only allowed 2 earned runs, didn't walk about it. I was like, can he carry this momentum? I expect him to do that. And then he gets destroyed on Friday. 10 earned runs over 3 2/3. So with Trevor Rogers is pitching so well. He's allowed 1 earned run over his last 3 starts. He's allowed 3 earned runs over his last 4 starts. He's back to pitching similar to what we saw last season when he was, extraordinary. 1.81 ERA, 0.90 WHIP. Obviously, it was an outlier campaign. But so we have this situation where we have a lefty and Trevor Rogers pitching so well, and we have a huge question mark around David Peterson. That's so clear. It's so clear. So why would at Pinnacle the Cubs be plus 116 first 5 and plus 116 full game? Why would they be telling us that there's no real advantage with Trevor Rogers? And the reason why they're telling us that is because the Cubs are ripping the leather off the ball versus lefties. No one's even close to what they're doing versus lefties. 286, 937 OPS over the last month. A lot of that is offensive weather that they got to utilize at Wrigley Field. But the Cubs are hitting lefties so hard that it gave me pause. Not only that, but the Orioles have a real legitimate bullpen advantage. And Spooner says Rogers meets regression. And the reason why Rogers would meet regression here is because of the Cubs. They are annihilating left-handed pitching. And so I kind of got lost in this game. I got lost in this game here. So Sharpie says mediocre lefties have had quality starts for COs. Only one left-handed pitcher the last 7 times or so have allowed more than 2 earned runs. They're not all aces who have handled the O's. It's such a perfectly timed comment there, Sharpie. I'm talking all about the Cubs lefties. I'm not talking about the Orioles versus lefties. 228, 652 OPS. You can see by the graphic, it's just falling off a cliff. So I do not know what Peterson's going to do. But it seems like a bounce back start is in the cards. This is a situation where he should be able to get that bounce back start. Now, we often talk about how good pitching can shut down, good hitting. 87% of cash here on the over, and it's moved to a 10. So it's a nice spot for Justin to be on the over 9.5. And then AM saying there might be a rain delay in this game. So I'm off of the game, but let's just do a quick look at Baltimore because we do have some storms that are going to wreak havoc on a lot of these games. So we have heavy rain at 4 p.m. I've got it clearing right up. So this game should be fine, but if the storms do come to an end as they're supposed to here. And Turnbuckle Tommy giving us Cubs season-long left-handed pitching. I don't really want to know the season-long. I just want to know the last 30 days personally. And they're annihilating them. So I'm off the game, comfortably off the game.
All right, next game on our slate is Tigers-A's here. We have a fun pitching matchup of Framber Valdez coming up here against Jack Perkins. Everyone that has watched this program for a little bit knows how I feel about Framber Valdez. What an albatross of a contract immediately after signing. Right now, it was a minus 150 opener for Framber Valdez. We're all the way down to minus 127, which is indeed nuts. Market in this game, we have 77% of the bets on the Detroit Tigers, but 81% of the money on the A's. And I'm actually seeing a pitching change. And I'm not seeing Perkins out there anymore. I can see this being an opener situation. I'm seeing a Jay Suarez right now listed.
Yeah, and Suarez pitched 2 innings yesterday. So now he didn't have a high pitch count in the 2 innings. So he could give an inning here, but I kind of thought it was unlikely last night. But sorry, keep rolling.
Well, yeah, it doesn't really affect the cap because I expect Perkins to follow him wherever he goes. His last few starts have not been good. He got crushed against the Marlins, which right now is okay to say because they've been so hot. But, 7 and 8 home road ERA is not what you want. And he went back-to-back against the Angels, I guess I can forgive, the runs in there, but it's not been good. And for Amber Valdez's last few starts have been okay. So five, 4 earned run appearances in there, but he mixes in 2 1 earned run performances against the Yankees and Astros. So it's tough to gauge what kind of Framber Valdez we're getting, but I'll tell you, I'm not looking forward to backing him here. I don't want to back him. What do you think?
Rob Stevenson has a lot of confidence here on the Tigers money line. Jose, I think there are certain spots on the board where the market tells you, how to bet it. And here we have 77% of the tickets on Valdez and 81% of the cash on the other side. Just 19% of the cash on the Detroit Tigers. I saw this movement last night and I really spent some time with it. You guys know I was high on Perkins before his last start. And, the idea that this line would be moving towards the A's when we know that Perkins is going to be at least the primary here today with a 6.75 ERA, 1.45 whip is astonishing. But he's got a 4.08 expected ERA. And Framber Valdez has 3 strikeouts over his last 2 starts. 3 strikeouts and 2 walks over his last 2 starts. He's allowed 17 hits over the last 11 innings, 9 earned runs. We watch Framber turn it on in important situations. The first time he saw the Astros, when he went up against when it went up against the Yankees in a packed house at Comerica, we've seen him step it up here. And I couldn't get over the fact that this line was moving so briskly towards the Athletics. So I sat for a long time on this game. I was like, a lot of these times, we'll see buyback. And it felt to me like we weren't going to see buyback on this one. Right now, the A's full game are plus 115. First 5, Jose, they're down to plus 105. They're down to plus 105. Last night at 2:45 in the morning, I moved on the Athletics first 5 plus a half at minus 115. And I think this is going to cash. I think the market is telling me to sit back and relax, and I'm going to get this money. So Sharpie says he's washed his hands with Framber. Says he has his worst zone contact and chase contact of his career. This just ain't the Fram Diesel I've bet in the past. Turnbuckle Tommy says Athletics last 7 games, 219 average with a 610 OPS and 69 weighted runs created with a 1.02 ISO, bottom 5 in every category. That is true. I have them against lefties over the last 30 days hitting very hard. Now, a lot of that is, of course, Sacramento related. 285, 837 OPS here for this one. I love all of the angles, Tommy and Rob Stevenson. I love all the stuff that you're putting in the chat. It's great. So thank you so much. Keep rolling in here. So I don't, Rob Stevenson having the confidence on the Tigers is a bit of a concern, but this is just screaming at us. How in the world would this line be moving so quickly towards the A's with Perkins? You have a starting pitcher with the ERA over 6 and the bullpen with the ERA over 6. You got all these numbers, these surface numbers that are atrocious for the A's. It's because there's something wrong with Framber, just like what Dougie Wise is saying. Shout out to Colin Gregory in the house. Rodswag says Oakland bats are ice cold is the only thing that kept them off. That's legit. Shout out to Just My 2 Cents in the house. France and Mbappe to score. Mbappe over 2 shots on goal and score or an assist. I'm going to copy and paste that. Rodswacky said bet against Framber Valdez on the run line versus an AL team with non-base percentage 330 or worse. Valdez team record since 25 season 6-24. Thomas Maggio says it moved yesterday too, and Springs got hammered. That's true. It's absolutely true. But the opening line I thought was wild in that game yesterday, and that minus 155 stayed there for a long time. I mean, Springs has okay road numbers, and if you look back at Springs and what he's been doing, he's been rolling. The Tigers aren't hitting lefties. I thought that opening line should have been utilized. Now, yes, we saw it move down to minus 131. It got me off the Tigers. It didn't get TJ off the Tigers, and he got paid. So look, the books are tipping their hand here clearly, and I was a little nervous moving on the A's first 5 plus a half last night. I was like, oh, is this the spot that, are we going to see bounce back? And we didn't. And it's great. And I really think that I can understand the concern about the bats being cold, but I think the Athletics are a must bet here, honestly. And I did just that. I bet them first 5 plus a half. That line's now 15 cents in my favor. You don't see a first 5 plus a half move that much. I think I'm at this point, this is my most confident spot on the board at this point in the card. But I think there's some coming up that I also really like. But I'm in business here, Jose.
Okay, I'm on the A's as well, full game. Let's move on to Marlins Mariners here. Next game on our slate, we have Bryce Miller versus my guy, Jansen Junk, back in our lives here. Jansen, I saw the other day, was on the injured list, so it's nice to see him back in our lives. It was a shin injury for Jansen Junk.
I've never seen I don't remember ever seeing a pitcher out with a shin injury for so long.
Yeah. I did not do the research to see like what kind of shin injury it was, but it was very interesting to see that. 63% of the bets, 72% of the money on Seattle here. Line is moving towards Jansen Junk and Company. Minus 145. Opener is now minus 130 at Bet Online. You know, it doesn't take much convincing for me to back Jansen Junk here, Jimmy. What'd you think?
Well, this was the game when I did not sleep much last night, and I woke up and wanted to see the line movement on it because I moved on unders, and I really thought that the books would probably tell a story on this. Again, we've been so successful backing pitchers that aren't coming off of an arm-related issue at this point of the year when you could use a break here, and I'm hoping that that's the case with Jansen Junk. It's moved so when I went to sleep last night about a little after 3, this was juiced to the over 8 slightly. It was minus 106 and minus 104, I believe. Minus 106 at penny, minus 106 to the over 8. Now it's minus 107 to the under 8. So it's a slight move that makes me feel good. And then the next question I had was, what's the first 3 under going to be here? That I thought that was going to be very, very telling. I got that first 3 under minus 120 at a pick'em, which is what it should be. It's an 8 at a pick'em, so being a first 3 at a pick'em, I thought that was fine. But I thought it was going to be crucial to see this market move. It's moved 5 cents. That's probably not enough, but at least it's not moving against me. Probably not enough. So I'm on unders in this game, first 3 and full game. And, look, Junk's been gone since late May. It's July 9th. That's a long time. He looked pretty good in his rehab starts, but he only went 5 2/3, so he's going to be limited, which means we'll go into the bullpen. The fact is that we talk about regression waiting for no man, and Bryce Miller has a 1.71 ERA and a 0.66 WHIP. Last year he had a 5.68 ERA and a 1.41 WHIP. Now he only threw 90 1/3 because he was dealing with a ton of injuries, and he even opened up this year with the oblique strain. But he has been spectacular, and he had the bounce back start after the first start where he lost more than 2 earned runs all year. He allowed 3 earned runs against the Pirates, still struck out 11 and didn't walk a batter, and he bounced back beautifully at home over the Angels. So Jansen Junk is a question mark. But judging by the line movement here, should I be concerned? And the answer is no, unless you think that Bryce Miller is the one that's vulnerable. And with the way the Marlins are hitting, that's possible. But this line opened up with the Marlins at plus 131, and they're now plus 118. I think that is implying that Junk is going to pitch well. We have at Pinnacle, Marlins are plus 118, and first 5, they're plus 125. Now, that is, easier to explain because the Mariners bullpen's been terrible of late. And it's now got a 4.63 ERA, 1.36 WHIP over the last 30, and they have Bryce Miller. What pitcher has better numbers than Bryce Miller right now? So I felt like I could explain that. I'm not going to move on a side here, but I really think that we can cash these unders here. TV Jones says Miller spectacular and pitching pissed off after they started the piggyback bullshit with Castillo, and Mariners offense is trash, no Julio. He took the under 8.5, says Miller is great. And there was one I paid for the 8.5 too. I remember that because I could have got the under at minus 106. It cost me 20 cents to get the 8.5. Yeah, so I have an under 8.5 minus 126. Right when I saw TV Jones on the 8.5, I was like, God, that rings a bell. It was just a few hours ago. So let's just see what that 8.5 is now. It will only have moved a few cents. Oh, no, it's still right there, minus 126. It's not moved at all. We have Rodswag says each of the Marlins' last 6 games as home underdogs have gone under the total. Says bet on Chance and Chunk on the run line versus teams whose hitters strike out 7 or more times in the game second half of the season. Chunk's team record since 2025, 12-1. And Spoons said Jose just wrote down junk ? In his notes. That'll be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
That will be helpful. You can just draw the picture. You don't even need to, you don't even need to use letters. Just
it's just trash.
No, yeah, sure. Okay, let's roll on. Let's roll on, Jose. But I'm on the first 3 under and the full game under. Justin McKelvey joining me on the Athletics first 5. I mean, come on. Like, is there not a spot? Where we don't, where it's not clear, so clear by the books? I mean, that's the clearest spot on the board today. Is that the Athletics should be bet here? Clearly. But Warbucks, and look, keep an eye on what Warbucks does here. I mean, the guy he's very good. Says Jump is about to get tore up versus those lefty bats here. And, the Mariners offense is putrid. They're just not doing anything. But I think that's, with Junk coming in off the aisle, it's well within the realm of possibilities. But first 3 under, full game under for me. Jose, let's roll.
Let's roll to Reds Phillies here. Jesus Luzardo recently named an All-Star versus Brady Singer here. Excuse me. We have, let's see here. It's not Interleague there. 82% of the bets, 90% of the money on the Reds here, on the Phillies here. That's a little excessive in my opinion, but the line has moved a little bit. 153 is now minus 157 at Bet Online for Jesus Luzardo. Minus 165 at Bovada is loading. It was a minus 163. So really not much movement, but a lot of people betting the Phillies today. Not a place I want to be personally.
Here we go. This is the second game on the board. And this one is, look, there's a lot of times when I don't I lament with you guys about not betting it at the right time and all of this. This is one. I love this game. First of all, I think it's so much fun to cap, but this game here, I moved at the right time on the Reds. The Phillies are hugely public with Luzardo on the hill. Luzardo pitching, really well. This is also Luzardo's 4th straight road start. He's handled the first 3 very well. He's pitching really well right now, but it's 4 straight road starts is not easy. We talked about Brady Singer, and Brady Singer, the Royals giving up on Brady Singer has been completely legitimized. Brady Singer has been really bad. They forced Brady Singer to skip a start after allowing 5 earned runs over 4 innings May 17th in a 10-3 loss at the Guardians, and he's come back and he's been much better. Now, Sunday, June 28th, when I told you guys I think we could be ahead of the curve in Singer, and I was right a little bit. And then on Sunday, June 28th, he struggled. He had 5 runs over 4 1/3. Very thankfully, I didn't cap the card on Sunday and got to let go of that. Warbuck says Red's going to beat Luzardo again, another under as well. That's interesting you say that. I'm interested in the under here. And shout out to Cuban Connect in the house. So look at this line movement. It opens up at minus 153, and it gets up to 169. And I still moved at that point on the Reds first 5 plus a half. And I was hoping, I was like, look, if we could show up here and see some buyback, it would be heaven on earth. So I got the plus a half at minus 112, first 5 plus a half at minus 112. Right now, the Reds are plus 142 full game. First 5 just plus 141. Wow. God damn. That's crazy. I hadn't looked at that. That sucks. That means that this line's gone heavily against me on the first 5 plus a half, but it's gone back to the Reds. Wow. God, that sucks. I'm very surprised and upset to see it. But another thing that didn't make sense to me here, God, that sucks. I was so cocky there. And now I got to shut up immediately. Then another thing that I thought was so interesting was how. So look, Jose, yesterday I talked about how that first 3 under 2.5, which did cash, made no sense. It made no sense in the Rangers Angel spot. And I couldn't believe, Jose, that we didn't talk about how we had to bet the over because of it. That's the first time that we haven't done it. The Yurfie cashed, the over 5 cashed, and the full game over cashed. You know who did bet all of those bets? Stimmy OG, who's been watching all those spots. He bet all 3 of those and cashed them all. When I was driving, I had the eye meeting yesterday, and when I was driving there, I was like, wait a minute, why am I not on the over? Why am I not on the first 5 over? Every single time we've been in this situation with Jose and I, Jose bets the Yurfie, I bet the first 5 over, and we've cashed every single one but one. Why would I sit here waxing about how that line doesn't make sense and not bet it? And 7 runs were scored in the first inning. Urena was great. It was Mackenzie Gore who was the vulnerable one. Here, this is a 9.5. I said last night, I was like, we should get a first 3 under, the first 3 under 3.5 at like, minus 125, right? First 3 under 3.5 minus 125 for a 9.5, right? You should get a legitimate first 3 under 3.5. You've been seeing me in all these spots, right? 9.5. We're gonna get a first 3 under 3.5 minus 125. You know what it was last night? Was it minus 200? Minus 200. I'm telling you, that's 75 cents off what we've been seeing here. So I thought for sure, because the total was going up, I thought for sure we'd get a better line here today. And I haven't looked this morning yet at this first 3 under. So the first 3 under here right now, the alternate line, the first 3 under, here we go, alternate total, is now minus 190. It's still ridiculously expensive. Ridiculously expensive. Warbucks is confident on the under. I think I need to bet this under. So there are problems here. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and everybody in the chat. First off, Great American Ballpark plus 12% runs, plus 28% home runs, plus 1% doubles and triples, and minus 4% singles. Okay, so there's a problem there. Sharpie says, I will not be backing Luzardo K-prop today. Too many Reds take pitches and don't chase. 2 things I need to back a prop with them. Now the Reds do swing at first pitch. Favors Luzardo 41% of the time when he gets 0-1. Rod Zweig says, bet on Philadelphia on the money line. Is favored minus 150 or more. Philadelphia's record during 2026 is 30-6. John Bender says, feels like a full game under and bite your lip. I think so too. But let's just look a little bit deeper into this here. And I know that we got to keep moving here. We got so much to talk about. But so we have Luzardo on his 4th straight road start. Is that a problem? His first 3 have gone well. Now that first one, he allowed 5 runs, but only 1 was earned. That was against the Nationals, who are hitting lefties hard. Then he shuts down the Mets, who aren't hitting lefties hard. Then he shuts down the Royals, who are hitting lefties hard. And again, we just talked about how the Reds 261, 778 OPS versus lefties. The Phillies are hitting righties harder than the Reds are hitting lefties. So obviously, there's a total at 9.5 for a reason. We have offensive weather. We have the Phillies hitting 272, 804 last 30 against righties, and the Reds 261, 778 versus lefties. Then the surprise here is that the Reds bullpen is outpitching the Phillies bullpen over the last little while. Reds bullpen 3.45 ERA, 1.31 WHIP. Phillies bullpen 5.40 ERA, 1.51 WHIP. Shout out to Lychees in the house. Warbuck says that he doesn't like the ballpark conditions. Yeah, no, I'm with you, but that's why we're getting a 9.5. Okay, so we've done that. So now let's take a look at just the line history in the total, because I knew I was going to move on the first 3 under. I just thought, God, we got to get a better line than this. Why aren't we getting a better line than this? And it, it just wasn't happening. I'm waiting for it to load again. God, it's so annoying. Jose, I'm going to refresh. Can you give us the cash flow on the total?
Sure. The cash flow on the total for Reds Phillies is 56% of the bets on the over, 70% of the money on the over.
This opened up at 9 at minus 110 and started moving immediately to the over. So within 2 hours and 3 minutes, it was a 9.5 juice to the over. So that was in the first 2 hours this was available, with the idea that Singer's a gas can, Reds are hitting lefties, Phillies are hitting righties, Phillies bullpen's being terrible, and hugely offensive weather. Since then, we've had 10 cents of movement to the under 9.5. Look, I think it's going to be a sweat. I think it's going to be extremely uncomfortable. Spooner says heat and humidity are what we are missing at the beginning of the year when Great American Park was playing in Underpark. It's both hot and humid today. Yeah, and that's why we're getting the 9.5. Yes, these are not, the conditions that we're looking for unders, but that's why we're getting a 9.5. I think that this should be attacked. And if I think that Brady Singer is not a horrible weak spot, he's got a 5.03 ERA, 1.54. Look, I've said enough. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, man. Let's just stop the waxing for no reason. I'm betting it. I'm already on the first 5 plus a half. Obviously, that line's now moved 11 cents against me, which I am astonished because the line moved back to the Reds. Fuck. But whatever, it is what it is. And then I'm going to now bet the first 3 under and the full game under 9.5. Let's roll.
All right, next game on our board is Brewers.
I was wondering if I should build the 3. It's too expensive right now. If I could get it just 10 cent another move to the over, I could build the 3. If not, I'll bet the 2.5 at plus money. But that scares the shit out of me. Sorry, Jose. Let's roll.
Brewers Cardinals, next game on our board here. Logan Henderson versus Andre Palante here. 66% of the bets and 90% of the money on Henderson here. And the Brewers, 61 on the under and 67% of the money on the over in this game for those interested. Minus 121 opener at Bet Online, is now minus 131 here. What do you think about this game, Jimmy? It's not much of a line movement with all that money, but it is still 10 cents in the favor of the Milwaukee Brewers here.
Yeah, there's a lot of money on Milwaukee, and we'd like the line to move more towards them. But one thing that we were doing with the Dodgers with great success was whenever the Dodgers would go up against a really good pitcher, oh, wow, look at this. Now we can bet them. Because when they go up against a gas can, they're priced out. And when they go up against a good pitcher, you're like, oh, look, now I have and I think that we should consider the Brewers in the exact same spot here. I really do. The Brewers are the most professional team in baseball. 22 games over 500. I guess is that before the. You know what? That might be an old record. I think they're even better than that right now. But I digress. Logan Henderson's coming off the IL, so he's been shelved since late May. It's a back strain. That's tricky. The thing here is that like when we saw Dustin May have the back issue, he only missed 1 start, and then he got annihilated in 2/3 of an inning. Here we know that Henderson's been off for a long time. Henderson's been off since the end of May. So his back is back. He's fine now. He had the time to heal the back injury. It wasn't an arm injury, so I can get past that. He had 2 rehab outings here. He only allowed 2 earned runs over 6 2/3, 11 strikeouts, 2 walks. He only threw 68 pitches, so he might not be able to go deep. But then we have the Brewers bullpen. So here we go. Andre Palante is pitching very well this year. He was bad last year. He's finding himself. He's pitching at a very, very high level, which allows us to get the Brewers at a proper price. Yesterday, and we talked. One more shout out to the great Troy Torrance. I mean, being on the Cardinals' first 5 in full game was spectacular. I knew enough to not be on the Brewers that the opening line didn't make sense to me. There was such a clear pitching advantage, in my estimation, with Harrison on the hill, and it opened up at the same line here when the Cardinals have their. Maybe you could say McGreevy is their best pitcher, and that, but with the advanced analytics, it says that Palante is their best pitcher. I don't think he is. I really like McGreevy, but again, this is great. I moved on Milwaukee minus 126. This time when it moves to minus 145 by the end of the day, I can sit back and relax. It makes sense to me because we're going up against Palante. So, and we have Henderson coming off the IL, and that concerns a lot of people. So, this is comfortable for me. Milwaukee minus 126. Bounce back after yesterday's loss, and I'm in business. Shout out to Jermaine in the house. And we had 2 more great angles from Rod Zawacki on unders for that Philadelphia-Cincinnati game, which is great. Also, of course, Dougie Wise, free bands play today is the Brewers as well. Always making moves going to be on the Brewers. Jermaine has a system play on the Cardinals. Love to hear what that system is if you want to share it. But I'm in business here. Brewers minus 126. And I think Logan Henderson's been spectacular this year, too. Like, he's a beast. And who do we trust? We trust the Brewers' brain trust. I like that he's been off since May. We're not rushing back a back injury. So we're in business here. Logan Henderson and the Brewers are, I think, going to get us paid.
Okay, fair enough. No action for me here. And we move on to the Angels and the Rangers here. Fun game because we've got a good pitching matchup with Detmers and Eovaldi here today. Reed Detmers. He's going to be the highest, the most prospect capital to be traded for a pitcher this deadline will be for Reed Detmers, which will be shocking to see when if a Tarek Skubal gets traded and it's like, what the fuck? That was for Tarek Skubal and they had to give up a top 10 prospect for Reed Detmers. That is going to be the case here, ladies and gents. So prepare yourselves for that mentally. Eovaldi, a guy that you guys know that I love here. Minus 156 is what this opened up. We're now down to minus 134 at Bet Online here. The Angels got their ass kicked yesterday, so we'll see if they can get up off the mat. 79% of the bets, 89% of the money on
the Angels
Texas.
did the ass kicking. The Angels did the ass kicking.
Okay, excuse me.
Nice.
The 79% of the bets, 89% of the money on the Rangers here today. Line is moving towards the Angels, so are they going to put boot to ass here again here, Jimmy? What do you think?
This game took so much time. And after all, like I was sitting here with so long, I was getting, people are telling me to speed things up using AI. It gave me wrong information. I had to say, I knew it was wrong. And I was like, no, I do. And and then they, are you asking the right questions? I was like, oh God. And so this is where I ended up. Clearly, the Rangers are public here, if we believe odds logic. And the line's moving towards the Angels. So at that point, it's a big move towards the Angels. It has to be respected, right? And I had planned on not only betting the Angels first 5 plus a half, but I'd planned on being on the first 3 under and the first 5 under. I wanted to stay away from the Rangers bullpen that being bad. So I'm sitting here and look, these aren't picks. These are bets that mean so much. There's consequences to the wonderful consequences to succeeding in this industry. Horrific consequences if you lose too much. And God, I was, in that situation 6 weeks ago in MLB, and I climbed out of it and kept everything together and thank the baseball gods for that. But here, I'm going to make these bets. And let's talk about the most important elements of this. Reed Detmers is pitching at a very high level. A lot of it is coming at home. Reed Detmers faced this Rangers squad at home on Sunday, May 24th, and was spectacular. 14 strikeouts and no walks. Allowed 1 hit. I mean, he was going for the no-no. He was going for perfection. Didn't walk, allowed 1 hit. It was a solo shot. He has been incredible. But look at what the Rangers are doing to left-handed pitching. So I deep dived into it. I was like, okay, they're destroying left-handed pitching. Now, some sites were saying that they weren't, but I have Fangraphs against lefties over the last 30 days, 306, 839 OPS, 306, 839 OPS, And then I was like, okay, well, who are the pitchers that the left-handed starters that they faced over the last month? Well, Framber Valdez on July 2nd. Of course, that, Joey Cantillo, who's excellent. Parker Messick, who's incredible. And Patrick Corbin, who's trash. So 306, 839 OPS is valid against those 4. That's between June 9th and July 9th, the lefties that they faced. Well, so I have a pitcher who dominated the Rangers. And then after that, the Rangers started destroying lefties. And I'm supposed to just sit back and say, oh, he's going to do it again on the road 5 weeks later. Look, I'm not going to go up against this line move towards the Angels. The public's on the Rangers. The line's moving towards the Angels. The Angels are clearly sharp money. If anybody wants to be on the Angels, I get it. I like Eovaldi on 6 days rest. I want these older vets to have extra rest. When it came down to it, I didn't bet this baseball game. And I had expected to have 3 units on it. I'm not going to sit here and be on the bus with the public. I'm too old for that shit. I'll fucking walk. So I'm not going to sit here with everybody in the public on the Rangers. Clearly, there's a line moving towards Angels. But I'm not going to sit back and expect the same thing to happen again in a different location 5 weeks later when the team that Detmers is facing is now annihilating lefties. So you put it together, and I'm off. TV Jones says live movement has not meant shit. Says feed me the Rangers. I think it's meant a lot personally, but I can understand trusting and having conviction and trusting X's and O's, and we don't need to cap the same way. We just work together. And when we cap so differently, it really helps the community, helps the group. You don't want everybody doing the same thing. So shout out to Jake Burns. We got Jay Peasy in the house, my man. Stakes is high. Fucking de la. Rod's Wax says bet against Reed Detmers on the run line versus AL teams scoring 4.4 runs. Bet against Reed Detmers on the run line versus AL teams scoring 4.4 or less runs a game on the season. Detmers team record during 2026 season 0-8. I'm off and comfortably off. I feel so relieved. So I spent so much time on this game and just fuck off. I got enough action and I'm on my way to Vegas. I'll cheer for all of you guys with whatever action you have. Let's roll.
Next, Padres Diamondbacks here, Jimmy. And we've gotten a good way through this MLB card, so good for us here. Merle Kelly versus old Griffin Canning. Thank God he's pitching now and not when you're in Vegas. I would be worried about what bets he would be making on our boy, the Can Man, on Vegas. But never fear, because he is pitching at home here, where he has a 4.85 compared to a 10 ERA on the road here. 3 of his last 4 starts have been on the road, so he's coming back for some home cooking. Merle Kelly, old, washed up, but still pitching the 5-6 innings of decent ball at times here. 5 innings, 2 earned runs against the Brewers is not bad, but the rest of his starts not very impressive there. Market in this game, we have, where are you, my lovely Arizona Diamondbacks? Here you are. 68% of the bets are on the Padres, but 93% of the money are on the Diamondbacks here. This opened up at minus 116. It is now minus 121. It did get up to minus 127 at one point, but it is right now at minus 121 for your San Diego Padres.
So we only have Jose for 6 more minutes, and I want to cap the full baseball card, the next game included. So I don't want to sit here and wax for too long, but I'll tell you how I saw this. Warbuck saying Kelly in division, I'll back him. Rod Zawacki gave us the numbers of Merrill Kelly in division, and they're very strong. They're the only strong numbers we see from Merrill Kelly. He started the season with a back injury, and he's been terrible all year long. He's got a 5.71 ERA and a 1.56 WHIP. If we look at expected ERA, and I'll talk about why I'm smiling here in a second, but we look at expected ERA. Griffin Canning's got 6.71 ERA and a 4.81 expected ERA. So Merrill Kelly's just been trash, and you could say Griffin Canning is being unlucky. TV Jones says first 5 over 4.5. These 2 gas cans will give it up. Says Padres starting to hit neither pitcher keeping offense off the board here. Spooner says 2022 Jimmy's on the first 500 trash can versus trash can. He's right. But it's funny, Spoons. I had last night. I was like, look, I can get the Canning here. I can get the Canning here. And I imagine TJ just, not laughing, but just going like incredulous, I guess would be the term. Just shaking his head, looking at me, trying to find a way to get on Canning. Look, the stat for Merrill Kelly against division opponents, I think, is legitimate. Griffin Canning having bad luck and, those glorious 8 weeks in New York for him before he tore his Achilles. Look, I don't have to bet this game. You guys know that I've almost lost all my compassion in life. It's almost all gone because of gambling, because of these $10,000, $20,000 swings that are affecting everything in our life, where we're risking a family's future and all this shit. You built this armor up where I don't care about anything anymore. I don't give a fuck about anything almost, except for some reason I have this weak spot for these veteran pitchers that I can't explain. It's such a weird fucking thing in my character that I don't want to put my foot on their throat, but I want every single team in all of sports to lose. In every single sport except for the Vancouver Canucks, I want them all to lose, but I care about these starting pitchers. It makes no sense. I'm off this game. I don't need to sit here and watch Griffin Canning or look at this ass clown fucking Merle Kelly, this ancient fucking vet doing nothing. pitching so bad, but he pitches well in division, so he's going to pitch well here. I don't need to be involved in this shit. I'm off of this game. Let's roll, Jose. Last game on the board, Rockies Giants. Unless you're moving on this game, and shout out to Sweaty Butcher in the house.
No, I was looking at it, and no, I'm going to stay off here.
And Warbuck says he likes a good bum fight. I love bum fights.
I perused the first 5 under.
You are looking at the first 5 under?
I just looked at it just to laugh, just to see what it would be. But no,
I love bum fights. Everybody knows that. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember. Look, these are not stories that I'm proud of, but I dropped acid on my 13th birthday. We went down to Granville Street, and there was this bum fight between these 2 female bums, and it was magical. The things they were saying were horrifying. The black homeless woman, she had long blonde hair, and I'm 13. I know what's going on. I'm tripping balls. The one homeless chick rips the blonde hair off, and now the black woman's bald. And these homeless chicks are kicking the shit out of each other. And I'm like, how can life get better than this? Pass me some blueberry bubblicious. Okay, Jose, let's roll.
Last game on the board is Rockies Giants. Speaking of blueberry bubblicious, we have Ryan Feltner versus who knows? Do you guys have an answer in the chat? Who do we have?
I think it's Carson Wisenhunt is the pitcher, and I hope it's Carson Wisenhunt, but keep going.
Whenever I think of him, I think of Ken Wisenhunt. Shout out to him. 59% of the bets and 54% of the money on allegedly Carson Wisenhunt here. 88-89 on the over. The Rockies just got their hearts ripped out of their chest last night by losing to the to the Dodgers in a little bit of a dramatic fashion. But line not out at Bet Online yet, so we'll see what they have to say when we get an official picture. Jimmy, what did you think about this game?
I realized I just made it sound like my brother is dead. I said he was 5 years older than me. My brother is 5 years older than me. Sorry, is 5 years older than me. Okay, back to business here. TB Jones says Rocky should have won 2+. The runners in scoring position killed them. Yeah, it was horrible because we were doing the show live at the time. Look, you guys know what I think about Feltner. I don't know why. I just love the guy. We barely saw him in 2025. He got off to a really good start this year. Then he was placed on the 15-day IL with the right ulnar nerve inflammation, right tricep tightness, whatever the hell it was. He didn't want the IL stint, and they made him go to AA Hartford, then to AAA, I think Albuquerque, I want to say, and then he starts shoving immediately, and he's been so good. He's the best pitcher on the Rockies. And again, I smile when I say that. I'm sure that you can argue that. Carson Wisenhunt, he gets a lot of soft contact. He's a lefty. The Rockies have been destroying lefties, but this isn't the ballpark where I expect them to do that. Carson Wisenhunt, if he is the starter, which we need some confirmation on, is capable of being a starting pitcher here with this ball club. AAA Sacramento, it's not easy to pitch in the PCL league. He's allowed 4 home runs over 77 in the third. He's had 1 start in the majors this year. It was June 17th at the Braves, and he pitched well. The idea that I'm kind of expanding on, and I know you got to go, Jose, I'll talk really quickly here, is that Nutflush Allen talked about, we fade when the Dodgers and Giants play each other, we fade them both in the next game. When the Padres play the Dodgers, when they leave the Dodgers, you fade the Padres immediately because these games are so intense. The Rockies cared so much about playing the Dodgers. It was a really fun series. Every game, 1-run game. It was a really fun series. The Rockies played hard, and they probably deserved better. And now they go up to San Francisco, and they have to play a team that's 16 games under 500, and it's half empty these days, unfortunately. Maybe it won't be that bad. But I don't want to back the Rockies. It was a very late game. It's not hard to get up San Francisco, but I don't really want to back them in this conditions. But I want to bet unders. I think both these pitchers can hit if it is confirmed that's Wisenhunt, and we know that it's Feltner. I want the first 3 under and the first 5 under. I just want the confirmation on Wisenhunt because I like him, and I think that these Rockies numbers versus lefties are like the A's numbers versus lefties. I don't think they're real. The 8.5 here is perfect because I think that pitchers will see a AAA pitcher going up against Feltner, and Feltner's numbers are good. 4.27 ERA, 1.22 WHIP for a Colorado Rocky pitcher. 4.90 expected ERA. So I just think that the Rockies, Giants, first 3 under, first 5 under, stay away from these bullpens. And while the Rockies bullpens looked much better, they're exhausted. Those were intense spots against LA last night. So I think this will just be I hope it's a quiet opening, first 3 under and first 5 under. I haven't bet yet because I want Wisnant to be confirmed here. So there we go. Dougie White's someone talked me off the Giants. Says I'm considering betting them here. Yeah, I think that they probably should be bet. I just really like Feltner, and if he shoved all game long, I would be so proud, and I don't want to be involved in that. So that's it for me. Here, and that is our last game on the board. Jose, my friend, I know you got to go. Could you please review your MLB action for Thursday, July 9th?
Yeah, I am on Marlins first 5 plus 120. I am on the A's full game plus 114, and I am on the Pittsburgh Pirates minus 103 full game money line. I also bet France, Morocco, both teams to score minus 108.
You are in business, Jose. Have a wonderful weekend, my friend. Good luck with everything. Jose, do you want to, before you go, pitch the fundraiser for Venezuela again and put it back and put it in the chat?
Sure. We are selling shirts to help benefit those who are homeless, houseless, without dwelling in Venezuela after those huge earthquakes the other day. It was like 2 weeks ago now, I guess. If you can, donate. There are plenty of, ways to donate and not get anything back, like going to the Red Sox Foundation and donating that way. Instead of doing that, go buy yourself a shirt. I put it in the chat. Support Rep Venezuela and donate that money. All that money that gets bought to the shirt goes to those in need. So shout out to you guys. Good luck, everyone. And Jimmy, I will see you next week.
There he is. Very good friend Jose Bouquet in a business here. I'm going to review my MLB action. I should, though, add very quickly, now that it's just us, to the acid story. I decided, afterwards to take another double. So we had 2 doubles, and it's actually a really great memory. A really fun time, and then. My mom and I have a really close relationship. I told her that I dropped acid, after a few weeks. So, right. And we had a long talk, and just for all the parents out there, with my mom, we had a really long talk about that. I wanted the experience. I wanted to have that experience. And that's what we talked about. She never said, no, she said you wanted it. She said, now you've had the experience and you've had no, negative effects, and you're fine. And you had the experience, and you always, and you're lucky, and you had the experience. And she never said not to do it again. I was like, yeah, I got to have that experience. And I never did it again my whole entire life. She never told me not to do it again. I think that's really important parenting. You don't need to slap somebody in the face and say, I can't believe you did that. Don't empower them to be smart enough to make decisions. And so, shout out to my mom for that. How she handled that, and I hope I can do the same thing with my kids. Let's action for Major League Baseball. Kansas City Royals, New York Mets over 9 minus 112. New York Yankees, Tampa Bay under 7.5 minus 110. Boston first 3 money line minus 105. Boston first 5 money line plus 101. Athletics first 5 plus a half at minus 115. Seattle Miami first 3 under 2.5 at minus 120. Seattle Miami full game under 8.5 minus 126. Cincinnati plus a half at minus 112, and the Brewers minus 126. I don't know what she said to my brother, who I'm sure she knew was the reason why it all went down. I'm thinking about that now. But okay, then let's get into the possible additions. I'm staying off that Braves Pirates over. I know it's a very public and clean spot, but I'm not moving on it. I can. We don't need to go rehash all of these breakdowns here. But I'm going to have a lot of additions here, and I can't wait for them. I think I'm going to add the first 3 under 2.5, and I may add the Rays. First 3 under 2.5, I may add the Rays. I've got to decide that here. I've copied and pasted a lot of the action that you guys have. MJ 2000 is also with us on the Brewers money line. I'm off of that Guardian spot. Nothing's going to change there. I'm going to stay off that under in White Sox, Red Sox, but I can understand why anybody would be on it, honestly. Again, I'm off a lot of these spots that I was hemming and hawing for so long. I'm just off of, which I'm very comfortable with. I have enough action. I think the Athletics first 5 plus a half is the best bet on the board. Now, not at minus 130 because the implied probability is skewed now. But the books are telling us that the Athletics are going to roll. And I think the books are telling us that the Reds are going to roll or, be really tough here. I think those are the two spots where the market's telling us. If you're on the other side, I would proceed with caution in those two spots. I'm on Seattle. I already did that. So then what are the other additions here quickly? Sorry. The unders. The unders in Philadelphia, Cincinnati. It scares me to take a first 3 under 2.5, even if it's just plus 105 in a game that's a 9.5. I know that the market's opening up their arms to anybody who wants the over. So I have to bet it, and I can't be a pussy and bet the 3. Pay what minus. I'll have to see if it's moved 10 more cents. Maybe I can do it, but it's going to be like a minus 140, and I don't want that. It makes me really nervous and scared to bet a first 3 under 2.5 at plus 105. That should be plus 135. I should be able to build a 3, so I got to trust it there, and I'm going to put the unders in that one. And then I'm going to bet those Rockies unders, and that is that. That is Major League Baseball. Okay, we have 22 minutes until the daily sesh. We've got WNBA, and I'm going to talk the entire CFL card here. And this is a very, very interesting, Seattle Storm, Atlanta, WNBA spot. And I'm so, I guess, addicted to capping baseball. I feel like I could just do it for days and days. And that's why last year our shows, were 5 hours long. It's just, I enjoy capping with you guys so much. And there's so much time and energy needs to put into it. I felt like when we were capping WNBA last night that I hadn't put enough time into these spots. So let's talk about it right now because they're extremely interesting. 8 p.m. Eastern, the Seattle Storm, 6-17, 2-9 on the road at the Atlanta Dream, 12-9, 6-3 at home. We're at Gateway Center in College Park, Georgia. Atlanta Dreams lost 5 straight games. And Rod Zawacki was talking last night about how they're a heartless group because they've not been able to revenge any losses. They're 0-5 in Rebenga situations here. Shout out to the new worker in the house. And Nasty Nate says, remember to love your loved ones. Our guy Nasty Nate and the new worker, two great guys there. AM is on the Dream minus 10.5. And shout out to AM and Justin McKelvey, who so confidently on the Sparks last night. They did a great job. Ramel Davis, great to see you, man. So let's go here. We have a 2-point move towards the under from 169 to 167. So we have a team in Atlanta that's lost 5 straight games. The last game they lose at home, and they've been sitting there at home for 4 days. I find it very difficult to believe. Look, I do believe the statistic, that the Atlanta Dream have not been revenging losses. But they lose to the Valks in back-to-back games, in San Francisco. Then they head up to Seattle and get clobbered. They lose by 15 points. 15 points they lose against Seattle. Then they lose to the Mystics, who are dealing with injuries. I mean, they're falling apart. They're just losing and losing and losing. And now they've been sitting in that loss. If this was the NBA, I'd be running to bet them. And I think that I should still do that here in the WNBA, and I know it's very different. So what we had happen with the Dream, and the Dream don't have injury issues or anything to talk about. This opened up at minus 11. So this opened up on Tuesday, right? It's Thursday morning. This opened up on Tuesday at minus 11 and minus 110. It moves to minus 11.5, and then it moves to minus 12.5. Now at 12.5, it only lasted there for 10 minutes. So we shouldn't get too caught up in the fact that it moved to 12.5. Obviously, there are cappers that really believe that's too many points for the Storm team that's playing their best basketball of the season. Then it moves back to 10.5. And I don't know about you guys, but the first thing I thought when I saw this line was, oh my God, how do we not bet the Storm? How do we not? The first thing I was like, oh my God, that's way too many points. Atlanta's been terrible. And yet the first move by the book sharper cappers moved it towards Atlanta. And then, of course, look, there was buyback. So obviously the books respected the money that came in the other way. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this spot. We have 79% of the tickets and 94% of cash on Atlanta. It's not what I want, because this line's moving back to Seattle. I want to put my foot down and back Atlanta. I want to back them first quarter, first half, and full game. But I'm not seeing the board very well in WNBA. and we're having a really good season, but I'm just not seeing the board well enough. I want to triple up on Atlanta. I want to trust them and trust their anger and trust how good they looked early in the year. And there's no injuries to explain this. Every season you'll ebb and flow. Why can't the Dream step up here? And it's a huge number. And, we've been watching, Connecticut cover all these big numbers. Why wouldn't Seattle be able to do it well? So I'm going to be on Atlanta. I think I should just be on them early. I don't want to triple up. I think I should just be on them early. Either they come out of the gate, smash and grab, or I'm screwed. I don't think they have a terrible first half and then they still cover the 10. And I don't want to triple up on this spot. So at this point, it's the first quarter and the first half that I find the most appealing. Let's move on to 10 p.m. Eastern. Indiana Fever 12-8, 4-4 on the road at the Phoenix Mercury, 8-14, 3-7 at home. We're at Mortgage Matchup Center in Phoenix, Arizona. The Fever on the second half of a back-to-back. The Fever opened up at +1.5. They're now +1. They lost to the Sparks last night. It was just Kelsey Mitchell who played 33 minutes. Nobody played much. Caitlin Clark only played 16 minutes because the whole idea when Aaliyah Boston was announced out was that Aaliyah Boston would miss the game on Wednesday. She'll play the game on Thursday. Caitlin Clark will play the game on Wednesday and then miss the game on Thursday. But then she only plays 16 minutes. And we knew that there was going to be a 20-minute time limit. But at 16 minutes, like, okay, well, now will they all play? Because they look terrible. And so let's just quickly just see what they're saying about both Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark, because again, this was the same deal. When I looked, Caitlin Clark is out and Aaliyah Boston's in. I think that's great. Alyssa Thomas game time decision, so is Wickham, but I think that's great. We've watched this team play more than the sum of their parts when Caitlin Clark's not on the floor. I think that's great. My first instinct again was we got to bet Phoenix. I even said on the show, I was like, how do we look how bad? But again, it's the cognitive bias that I'm reading books to escape these cognitive biases, and yet I still have them. And we all do. And I'm trying so hard to lose them, but I see the Fever play like trash against the Sparks team without Kelsey Plum. And then I want to fade them immediately. But we see teams often in the NBA. Look, if this was the NBA, we'd be running to back the Fever. So why don't we do it here? Justin McKelvey's done it here. Stack's play of the day number 2 is the Indiana Fever. Stacks. I think the Mercury will provide a lot of value for us as we move forward. The market told us to bet the Chicago Sky, and thank God, because I'm not running very well in WNBA. I mean, we're still 10 games over 500 and healthy, but thank God they let us know that. I think Mercury are going to give us value here, but this has got to be an angry Indiana team that probably wants to prove something. They get Aaliyah Boston back rested and Caitlin Clark off the floor. We saw last year how good they looked with Caitlin Clark off the floor. I think the Fever should be back tonight. We'll do that. Third spot on the board here. Yeah, but Aaliyah's in. Aaliyah's in AOD. And Rodwike says, bet on Indiana in away games when playing against a bad team, winning percentage 25 to 40%. Indiana record since 2024, 10-0 against the spread. Aces Portland Fire, Moda Center in Portland, Oregon. Our last spot on the board here. Asia Wilson, game time decision. She was supposed to come back on July 9th. That was the initial thing. We'll see if that is the case. Dana Evans is a game time decision. Samuelson is a game time decision for Portland. Portland been playing more than some of the parts. By the way, Warbucks is on that -1.5 for the Mercury, fading the Fever on the second half of back-to-back. And that was my first instinct, too. I can understand the angle there. AM is on the Aces -8.5. And TV Jones saying kind of like Bonner, under rebounds, Indiana being cleaning the glass, Bonner being getting rebounds like crazy, and a 6.5 line. He's wondering about that spot there. Here we have the Aces opening up -8.5, and they're -8.5 right now. Sitting here at 8.5, no movement. When we go to the cash flow for this spot here, we have 83% of the tickets on Las Vegas, just 66% of the cash. The Portland Fire have just been playing more than the sum of their parts, and what Asia Wilson are we going to get if she plays? I don't know what we're going to get. And I kind of want to keep fading the Aces, but we know how different they are when Asia Wilson's there. And then so I guess maybe I should just stay off of this spot here, because when is Vegas going to bounce back? Well, you'd say, well, of course, as soon as Asia Wilson's on the floor, you'll see the defending champion Aces. The Aces have looked, really bad. That overtime win over Chicago was not good. Both their games against the Sky weren't good. Then the Commissioner's Cup game, whatever, and then they coming off losing by 16 at home. How do you fade a team that's coming off losing by 16 at home? Then they get on the road, and Portland Fire snapped their losing streak on the road. So this is their first game back home after a long time. I guess maybe I don't find either appealing. Nasty Nate, it's a tricky game. And Warbuck says Fever 1-4 against spread with the rest disadvantage. And this is their first back-to-back game. Warbucks, I would also be very curious of what they are with the rest disadvantage after losing. A straight-up losing. I think that might change the angle. Because if they had won last night, we'd all be lining up to fade them. But they were embarrassed. They looked terrible. But again, trust yourself. TV Jones makes it Portland plus 4.9. Rodswag says bet on Las Vegas in away games when playing against the marginal losing team. Winning percentage 40-49. Las Vegas record during 2024 7-0 against the spread. I guess if Asia Wilson comes back, the line's going to move when she's. I think I just stay away from the spot here. Stay away from the spot. Okay, let's roll. We have 11 minutes before the daily session. Let's roll into the Canadian Football League here. And I've got heavy action. You guys have seen the action, all week. It's been playing underneath. I made all these bets very, very early. AM says I think the Aces cover 8.5 without Asia. Personally, if there's no Asia again, I won't get the 8.5. Then I'll be like a 6. Yeah. If she's in, it's 11. If she's out, it's a 6. It is kind of a tricky game. But here we go. Thursday, July 9th, we have the Ottawa Redblacks. Nary a victory in the win column for them. 0-4, 0-1 on the road at Edmonton Elks, 3-1, 1-0 at home. We're at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, Alberta. It's 70 Fahrenheit, partly sunny, 3-mile-per-hour winds. Ottawa comes in off a 27-22 loss at home to the Rough Riders on Friday, and they looked a lot better. They've looked better over their last 2 losses. I know that they only covered against the Alouettes because of that late, punt return. So all the talk, I don't know why Dinwiddie went into the locker room and said, look, you guys have invested in Drew Brown. He's been your quarterback. He's looked good, and I'm not going with him. I don't know why, because it feels like a locker room divide. I don't know why Dinwiddie did that, but he knows quarterbacks really well, and I guess he should be trusted. So he goes with Jake Mayer. Now, Jake Mayer is the reason why the Stamps let go Bo Levi Mitchell. They believed in Jake Mayer, and who believed in Jake Mayer was Dave Dickinson, a Hall of Fame quarterback, who's the coach, of course, of the Stamps. And so, but Jake Mayer looked terrible. He's slow as molasses. He's pretty simple to defend. And everybody's been talking about his yards per attempt, how low they are. I see Jake Mayer looking better. And if Greg Bell can be a threat on the ground, which we're used to him being, then maybe some defenses will have to defend the run, which we're not really seeing. We're seeing them sit back and challenge, say, okay, Jake Mayer, throw the ball to anybody you want. And you go at 7.4 yards per attempt, last in quarterback completion percentage. The problem is they're not able to stretch defenses at all. So basically, Jake Mayer is just a check down king right now. That's why the yards per attempt is so low. And he has, listen to this, 3 completions over 30 yards this year. 3 completions over 30 yards. The Elks come in off this 36-24 loss on the road versus the Lions. It was in Kelowna. The Edmonton defense has been really bad against the run. It changed everything in the Lions game. The Lions started moving the ball on the ground and moving it with ease. And then the Elks started having to defend that, and then Rourke just picked them apart. Speaking of which, and I need to say this out loud here, I'm going to bet in that. Look, and this isn't necessarily in the CFL. When you bet a future in a 9-team league, it's just that you're going to be. You believe you at some point you're going to be in a very, very advantageous situation, and it works incredibly well. Now, we had a lot invested in the Alouettes to win the Grey Cup, and then the injury to Davis Alexander kind of screwed it up, and there was a couple opportunities to hedge, and I didn't do it right. That's rare for me. Usually you get in very advantageous situations and you put yourself in a no-lose situation. I'm going to bet the Lions to win the Grey Cup today. I'm going to bet sorry, let me just move over. It's a number that's extremely high. We know they're a really good team. But again, it's not because I'm sitting here thinking that, oh, the Lions are going to win the Grey Cup. And, you would think. But in a 9-team league, I just know that this is going to be extremely advantageous for me. And it's plus 700 right now. Unless Nathan O'Rourke breaks his leg, there's no way we're going to have a 700. Remember, they were 350 to win the Grey Cup at the beginning of the year. Shout out to the Godfather in the house. So, Rodswag says BC showed all the CFL to stop the Elks run. They got nothing. And so again, back to this here. We know the Elks' weak spot, as Rodswag is talking about, it's moving the ball on the ground. We know that Jake Mayer is a check down king, and he's only throwing 30 passes over. Only 3 passes over 30 yards. How in the hell is everybody not on the under? I mean, come on. This is we're still dealing with all of these overs, these unders. I mean, these totals are so ridiculously high. So right now, the Elks -6, sitting at -6. The Elks are really good, and they'll probably bounce back. I don't really want them at 6. In fact, I kind of slightly lean to the Red Blacks keeping this a game. I really do. And I might bet it. I think they can just keep this within one score here. The Elks do not have an explosive offense. This is sitting here at 57.5. The sharp books have moved it to 57, but it's still 57.5. I moved on the first half under and the full game under. I got the 57.5 that's sitting here right now, and the first half under 29.5. I think unders are the spot here. We just have 6 minutes left for these last 3 games in the Canadian Football League, so let's move quickly. But I really think the unders should be bet. And I think that I could move on the Red Blacks here. I really do. You would have to think that every cent is being bet on the Elks, and I think I could probably add the Red Blacks. Rodwacky and AM says this is a week of unders in his opinion. Rodwacky says bet on under home teams where the total is greater than or equal to 52 after covering the spread in 3 of their last 4 games. Top level team winning 75% more of their games on the season. That under is 32-8. So the next spot on the board here, we got to basically go a minute a game, unfortunately here. Friday, July 10th, 3 of the Argos Bombers were at Princess Auto Stadium in Winnipeg, Manitoba. 84 Fahrenheit, sunny, 7 miles per hour. Now, the big elephant in the room is Caleros. So we don't know if Caleros is going to play. He might play, but we think that he's not going to play. It's the neck injury that he dealt with all last year. It wasn't even that hard of a hit. So I really don't think he's going to play. Now, he could play. Newcore says, do we know if Caleros is playing? We don't know. He's questionable right now, but we expect it to be Drew Brown with a lot to prove. And yes, Drew Brown could put up numbers. The Bombers coming off this ugly 14-13 victory at Hamilton on Sunday. And again, we saw both Caleros and Bo Levi Mitchell leave the game early due to injuries. And the Argos coming off a really ugly 58-36 loss at Calgary on Thursday when their secondary was torched for 6 touchdown passes by Vernon Adams. It's a real problem. I mean, it was horrific, and they've been talking about all week how they're going to clean it up. Well, this Winnipeg team is just not a team that beats you that way. They can't throw over the top. Their wide receivers. I mean, Dembski at times can stretch defenses, but they just don't stretch defenses. And what do they have is the best running back in the business. They're going to move the ball on the ground. They're going to move on the ground. Is the line flipped? We're sitting here with a 59.5 total. You'd think that would have moved. Sorry, point spread. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Caleros is out. Wait. No, I don't know if he is. I mean, that line flipped 11 minutes in. It was I think it was a mistake. This has been sitting at, now it's moving towards Toronto. Look, I've been on Toronto all week, money line in the 2.5. I don't think that I think it was just, they put it at a line where they didn't know if Zach would play, and we all have watched Zach Caleros with neck injuries not play. Yeah, it's still listed as questionable. He's questionable everywhere. I mean, he's not practicing. I don't think he's going to play. Their only full practice was on Wednesday. It's a short week. Oh, here we go. The final injury report just came in. Sorry, let's look at this one here. Oh no. That's old. That's an old article. So yeah, but yeah, I don't expect him to be in. No, Rod Zwicky, that happened in 11 minutes. Rod, just so you guys know, they opened up plus 2.5 at 7:09 a.m. 11 minutes later, they were minus 2.5. That was all on Tuesday. But yes, the people who bet that, I didn't get a chance. It was 11 minutes, but the people who bet that think he's out. I think he's out too. But he has played before in the last couple of years when I thought he was going to be out. But yeah, I expect him to be out. So look, I don't know if this, maybe the Argos are just a team you can't bet unders with. Maybe that is here. Yeah, Warbucks, Ferdinand's from Eastern Washington and Oregon. You're damn right. And we love him up here. We call him Big Play VA. Maybe you guys call him that. I love Fernandez. I love him. So I've got 4 bets on this game. Argos money line minus 140. Argos minus 2.5 at minus 105. That was as soon as I could bet it. The Toronto Winnipeg under 59.5 at minus 110, and Toronto first half under 30.5. We have the 10-star play today on the Argos. I'm on the Argos. Argos money line, Argos minus 2.5. We got to move very quickly. We have 2 minutes before the daily sesh with Dabby Cab and Dutch Boy Fresh. Geobed, thank you so much. Thank you all of you guys here. I'm not going to be able to give the full outro because we got to talk about these last 2 games because I've moved on them. Except I haven't moved on this one. Stampeders, Montreal Alouettes, Percival Molson Memorial Stadium, Montreal, Quebec, 77 Fahrenheit, sunny, 3 miles per hour. The Stampeders coming off that wildly impressive 58-36 victory at home over the Argos on Thursday. That saw a big play VA throw 6 touchdown passes. 6 touchdown passes by the Big Play VA. The Alouettes coming off their bye week. They were last seen in the 37-35 week 4 victory at home over the Red Blacks. The under 62.5 for AM. I've seen a few people on the under, and I get it. AM is on the Stampeders plus 3.5. It says wrong team favored. Calgary's look very good. There's no doubt about that. I do feel like it's kind of a sell high after Big Play VA, throws 6 touchdown passes, and you have the Owls coming off of a bye week. But this opened up with the Owls minus 4.5. They're now minus 3. And, I'm just hesitant. If Calgary starts scoring, the Alouettes will go blow for blow. So I'm just kind of hesitant. We have a 61.5. Now, this is the only one that I have not bet the under in. GeoBed, my favorite play in baseball is the Athletics first 5 plus a half. But again, I got it at minus 115. It's now minus 130. So that takes the implied probability away. So maybe it should just be the A's money line, first 5 money line. I'm not going to double down, but the market's telling us that we got to, close our eyes and plug our nose and bet it. Rodswise says bet under the total Montreal games versus terrible defensive teams over 7.6 yards per play on this record since 2024 6-0. Then look at the final spot on the board here is unders have to be bet. They have to be bet in the Rough Riders Ticats game. I got 55.5 and 27.5. So I've doubled down on every under, except I haven't bet that Alouette Stamps under. So I'm here. So listen to this here. This is a big piece of this puzzle. The AM's moved on the under as well. Here we go. It is at kickoff at Mosaic Stadium, Regina, Saskatchewan, 94 Fahrenheit. Sticky and hot and humid. 94 Fahrenheit. The Humidex will make it hotter. And there's 10-mile-per-hour winds, hot wind. We have Hamilton without Bo Levi Mitchell, so we expect Trey Ford at quarterback. Trey Ford is showing that he can't be a starting quarterback in this league. They have Jake Dolagala, who is like the third and short specialist. They just picked up Jared Dagey, who's not a very good. Rod Zweig just bet the under 62 in the Calgary game. I get it. Here, so look, the Rough Riders here, should just easily win this game. They should just easily win this game. Now, Trey Ford is capable of conjuring up magic, but he just doesn't look like he has any confidence right now. It's ridiculously hot. Saskatchewan, with Trevor Harris at quarterback, will just do is what they need to do to win. But they should probably just win this easily. You know what? I should move on the Rough Riders minus 8. Honestly, it opened up at 7. It's now 8. The double result was really expensive. I think the Rough Riders just comfortably win this game. maybe I should bet them first half 2 here. I guess I didn't. The more I sit with it, why? Yes, I like the unders. Yes, I think that all makes sense. But to me, I feel like this is just a smash and grab here. That first half -5.5. I mean, they're just going to control the game. So I think I should probably. I think they just can't fix this line fast enough with Bo Levi Mitchell out. I mean, the wide receivers. I mean, Kenny Lawler has looked like the best wide receiver in the league, and now he's going to not get the opportunities to show his stuff. I think it should be Rough Riders first half and full game. I think I should move on both those. So I think I should add the first half. My bets have been out since Monday. You guys have seen them all week on the screen. We got to go. It's time for the Daily Sesh. Thank you guys so much. I will be in Vegas. If anybody wants to run in Vegas, I'm going to be with my family, so there won't be much time, but I'm going to figure out a Friday night or a Saturday night to rock. I'll be reaching out to all the cappers in Vegas here. So thank you guys so much. Philly Eagle Fly, Rods Wacky, AM, Geo Bed. Go over to the Daily Sesh. And thank you to Jose Bouquet and Swiggy on the 1s and 2s. And thank you to all you guys. TV Jones, Warbucks, our guy AM, Nicholas Handy, Turnbuckle, Tommy, Rod's a Wacky. So many cappers with great angles here. Rob Stevenson's angles, Turnbuckle Tommy's angles. Kelly McInnes, Ramel Davis, all of you guys. Much love to all you guys, man. Let's get this money. I'll see you guys over at the Daily Sesh. Let's get this cash. Leche! Oh, Wine Time Sports. Wine Time Sports, the great Wine Time Sports will be hosting tonight. So join us for the nightly bag tonight and Friday morning. Wine Time Sports. Leche. Los bookmakers. Milk them shits, man. Milk them.
It's easier to sleep in the black. When you're losing your ass and feeling so, you know what to do. Tune in to Pop Sports Radio. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's a roller coaster ride, you're gonna catch a bad beat. No problem, keep your head up and just bet the spreadsheet. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. All thanks to Jeff Slaughter, these shows have our backs. POD's always rolling, especially the stats. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. We got Jimmy, Jose, Debbie and the fam, Dutch Wine Time, Spooner and OG Wham. So hit the like button, don't say that you can't. If you know what's best, just put your money on tape.